We
It
are
is
back.
episode 175 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal
Oh
Rob, and
wait,
with me,
170. Wait, I got this right. I'll get this right. There you
five.
go. 5.
I'll do the five.
Is this many?
I am
We
Metal
need
Rob, and with me today is the great. Hang on, what did your name say? Hold on. Insert name here. I like it. Scooter Waters is what I like to call him because apparently that's the nickname for people named Scott, and so I like to use that. So there you go.
that works. And
Um,
we're missing Carcass because Rob fired him for saying Blue Oyster Cult was not a metal band, so he's no longer with the show.
I fired him for insubordination. Now, Circus will not be with us today. He's got a little bit of a personal situation going on. Nothing, little medical thing happening with his sweetheart, the Metal Queen, and they're trying to get something taken care of there. So as soon as Carcass is back, or as soon as we know something, we will let you know. He may pop on later in the show. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. So Glenn Rogers is here. What's up,
Glenn,
Glenn?
Brett Tate,
Repo is here. Brett, what's up? We're going to talk about that actually.
and we should
So,
have shortly. We will have a guest on the show who is not a musical artist. He's just a guy you've seen here before, Steve Bodine, Harmless Rebel, will be
yep,
joining us to talk all things Overkill and Metallica.
yep. So we're just going to kind of scatter shoot today. I'll do a quick shout out if that's cool, and then Scott's gonna tell us about his trip to LA that was very interesting. He's got some cool stuff to share about that.
Yep.
And then gosh, I can't get over last week's show with Caton, man. That was freaking awesome. That was metal scatter shooting of the highest order, man.
Yeah, no
That
doubt. That
dude,
was a
gosh, that
fun
was
show.
awesome.
And what
But
people online, what people are watching the show don't know is we were online chatting for another hour after the show went off the air.
yes, we were, and we just kept talking and talking and talking, and nobody wanted to break it up, man. It was awesome. But what a cool dude, and Caton's welcome on the show anytime, as are any of our guests. But man, it's going to be a toss up between Caton and Charlie Belmore for best guest because man, he was like the Energizer Bunny, man. He was going, dude. But
I remember
uh
Ron Reinhardt was like that too. If you remember, he was kind
yeah,
of
and I
story after
missed
story after
that
story.
one. I was out for that one for some
Uh,
reason. But so I want to do a quick shout out to the band that I can never stop talking about, and I don't feel guilty about that in the least.
Osric Tentacles.
Not damn it. What we're 4 minutes into the show.
I
Did
had to
you
get it in
have
there somewhere.
time
Had to. Someone's got to stand in for you know our
for
friend and,
Circus
and, and
Star?
buddy Carcass
Guess guess what I got today?
and Osric Tentacle CD. Oh, right on. The new
Yep.
Stone Trip.
Yep, it came out and we got 3 copies. I can't figure out why they sent us 3, but I'll bet I could guess. So yeah, the new Stone Trip is out. It's outstanding. My review is that it's a 9 out of 10, maybe a 9.5. It's just, man, I freaking love this thing. The artwork is amazing. I can't wait to see it on vinyl. But thanks to those boys because they ended up sending us complimentary copies, even though I did order them off of their website. So Google Stone Trip. You can find them on Facebook. You can go straight to their online store and you can buy Stone Trip CD. They've got T-shirts and beanies and but I can't remember what all a bunch of stuff, stickers and
Matter
the
of fact, Carcass
EP and all
designed one of their
that.
T-shirts, right?
So yeah, go check out those boys. But yeah, man, I was stoked to get that today. Have not opened it yet, so I don't know what the inside looks like yet. I've heard it. I've been listening to it for a while, but yeah. So shout out to all the boys in Stone Trip, and thank you so much. I appreciate it. What you got, brother?
Well, before I get into my little trip I want to say we got, and I know this is a bit outside of what we normally show on this show, but I thought it'd be cool to show the new Petra box set that you and I both worked on for Girder Records. It is a 3-disc set with a big old fat, like 20 or 24-page book, and it's
Mm-hmm.
got cards in it, and it's got an O card around it, and it's all remastered. And the '70s stuff especially sounds a lot better on this CD than I've ever heard it sound before. So anyhow, it's just a project that Rob and I both worked on, and it came out spectacular. And there's
Yep.
going to be a 5 LP box set
Yep.
coming out as well. We
Yeah.
actually had a stick. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a little outside of what we typically talk about on the show, but if you like your rock and roll with a little Jesus flavoring, then that
Yeah.
will surely satisfy, because
I mean,
it's
there's no doubt that Bob Hartman is a world-class guitar player.
turned out great.
So, but in any case, they're also, it's funny because the 5 LP box set, I had a sticker on it that said 5 LP box set, but we had to change it to say 5 times vinyl box set, because apparently nobody knows what an LP is anymore. People were asking, what's an LP? Everybody wants to call it vinyls. They're not vinyls. They're records or LPs.
Yes. The plural
Anyhow,
of vinyl is vinyl.
yes, it is.
Dummy.
Although I did see it on Mark McCormick's channel. He did a whole video on that, vinyl versus vinyls, and he came to the conclusion that vinyls is correct in English, but it just sounds silly to me. I mean, I've been a vinyl collector for, I don't know, since I was a kid in the '70s. That's a long time, and I don't remember anybody ever calling it vinyls. Matter of fact, I don't ever remember anybody calling it vinyl. I mean, wax, that was a big deal back in the day. Everybody
Yeah,
called
it
it
was
wax. LPs and records. Yeah, you're a record collector. That's why you go to the record store, because they sell records. Anyhow,
Yep. Well,
that's neither here nor there. But anyhow, I just thought I'd give a little shout out to that Petra set, because it did come out spectacular, and it was a lot of work, but in the end, the final product came out nice. So
yeah, it is pretty sweet. I know you worked your butt off on that, so it was cool to work on it. You know, all the stuff we work on is pretty cool. Speaking of, I'm going to give a little teaser. I'll make sure I'm not revealing anything. Nope, I'm not. Cassette tapes, ready for prep and master. Vic Stone there's a little something brewing. That's all I can say. But, and in a few minutes, we're going to get to this guy right here. But Scott's got a trip he needs to tell us about.
Yeah, Rocks Records, No Light Till Metal Records. We got together out in LA. I flew out there just mostly to see Dark Angel, because Ron is, as you know, Ron is a really cool friend of mine, very close friend of mine. So, and I've always wanted to see Dark Angel, never had the opportunity. So when I found out they were playing in LA, Ron called me up like weeks in advance. He's like, dude, you got to get out here. He says, I'll get you in the club. And then we ended up buying tickets anyhow. But the day of the show, we got there, and we got there like lunchtime, noon or so, and they were supposed to do like a two o'clock sound check. We ended up spending the entire day there. We never left the theater, and it was 3 nights of Dark Angel, and they sold out all 3 nights, I believe. I mean, I know they sold out Friday and Saturday, but I'm pretty sure Sunday sold out as well. And the crowds were crazy. But in any case, we spent the entire day there. We get there, and Ron brings us in. We go into the green room, chat up with a couple of the Dark Angel guys that were already there, hung out in the green room for a little while, and they were really cool. Felt a little awkward in the green room, because it was not really, I mean, the green room is more for the band to hang out and, eat and drink and whatnot. So we were kind of like the odd men out. We really shouldn't have been in there, but Ron brought us back there. So we helped their manager load the fridge full of beer and soda and whatnot. And of course, every time that any of the guys came in, I had to take the opportunity to ask for an autograph. So I learned a long time ago, I'm not afraid to ask for autographs anymore. Eric Carr said one time, he said when he went to try out for Kiss the very first time, he brought his Kiss record with him, and he did his tryout. When he was all done, he went up to the guys. It was just Paul and Gene, and he had him sign his. Oh, look, Steve's here. What's up, Steve? So anyhow, Eric Carr said that he went into he did his tryout, and he went up and had Paul and Gene sign his Kiss record, and they were like, you might even be in the band. What are you having to sign this for? And he goes, man, I might not be, and I might never see you guys again, so I might as well take the opportunity. And so ever since I heard that story, I never missed the opportunity to at least ask. I mean, the worst they could tell you is no, right?
Right.
So anyhow, I got a few things signed, which I'll show you real quick. But we spent a few hours in there, maybe an hour in there, but we spent the whole rest of the day out watching the sound check, watching them set up equipment. we were kind of just standing around, so we ended up helping them load. Specifically, we helped uh, Evil Dead load up their equipment because they didn't have nearly the road crew that Dark Angel had. So we helped the drummer get all stuff on stage, and then we went out and helped the lady out there who was doing their merch table. She had big old merch table. They had like 20, 25 different shirts and all this crazy merch, and she was the only one there and the only one working on it all. So we helped her out with that, and
Did you
then
sing "We Are the Road Crew" while you were doing it?
right. So then we were both of us were like old men, and our feet are getting tired from standing on concrete all day long. So we snuck upstairs to the on the balcony, and we just there's a couple couches up there. We just kind of sat down on the couches and relaxed before the show. And then we start hearing people come in, and they do the paid meet and greet people coming in, and which was we weren't part of that because we didn't pay for that. But we had already met. I already met the band anyhow, and I didn't really care about all the little trinkets you got, to meet the band. Um, but anyhow, we sat up there, and then we hear the security come in. They start, locking up areas, and we hear the security guard down the steps from where we're at saying, "Nobody is to be on this thing. Nobody should be up here unless they have, a pass from the club itself. Not even the band members should be up here." And we're like, "Oh crap, they're gonna kick us out." We ended up staying up the entire show, watching the show from the balcony, and even people from the club walked up there and just, I mean, they did whatever they were doing and ignored us, and we just sat up there and watched the entire show from the from the balcony, which was awesome, by ourselves. Meanwhile, if you were in the first 20 rows of people in the audience, you were getting your head kicked in by somebody wearing white Adidas shoes or white Nikes, because there was lots of 20-year-olds living in 1985 with the white Adidas high tops on and the denim vests and all in the long hair, and they were all up on the stage and jumping off. There was no security barriers, so the security for the band was just pushing them back in. So they'd get on the stage and they were just pushing them back in, pushing them back in. So that was nuts. The crowd surfing was insane. The circle pit was insane, and the entire time we're watching water bottles and beer glasses flying over people, and just so I'm sure everybody was soaked with beer and whatever else crap they were throwing up in the air, and we were up there going, "Hi guys." So I was glad to be up there. But yeah, both bands destroyed. Evil Dead was fantastic. So I did get my Evil Dead. I missed the bass player somehow, um, but I got everybody else.
Was it just you
And
and Bill, or was Glenn there with you?
no, it was just me and Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, I got to sign by all the guys except for the bass player who I missed. Anyhow, they were really cool, and two of the guys, the guitar player and the drummer, we hung out with the drummer for a little while. He was real nice, and those two guys also play in Anger Is Art with Steve Gaines of Avatar, Bloodlust fame. So we talked a little bit about that because it's not a secret now, although it's not written in stone. It's 99% sure that Anger Is Art's new CD and vinyl will be coming out on No Life to Metal Records, which is exciting for me. But I also took my Dark Angel original Leaf Scars, which I've had hanging on my wall for 10, 15 years. And you can see it's got this big old signature over here signed by Ron. But now it's got everybody's signature, of course, except for, hang on, I'm almost there. Jim Durkin, who is no longer with us. So they had an exclusive Jim Durkin shirt where they had a limited pressing for the show.
Oh,
Dark
that's
Angel
cool.
Jim Durkin, in the back of the shirt says, "One of the Godfathers of Thrash."
No, that's awesome.
And then Ron actually made patches that say "in memory of Ron D," and he gave me one of those patches as well. Also, here's the actual concert shirt, which is the DA logo on the front, and in the back is the "Darkness Descends on LA," and it's got the dates on there.
Perfect.
And of course, I had to.
I'm getting a
I had
call
to.
from telemarketer. Should I take it?
Huh.
Yes, I also had to support Evil Dead because both bands are great. So I grabbed me an Evil Dead shirt too. The table for Dark Angel was ridiculously long, and I walked. We ended up buying our stuff before the crowd was let in, but then after the show, Bill wanted to go buy one more thing, and the line was like an hour long. You weren't getting out of that line in less than an hour. And the line for Evil Dead, there was nobody there, so I just walked right out and bought the shirt. So anyhow, and also while I was there though, I got because two of the
Awesome.
members of Dark Angel are also in Viking.
That's funny. We
So
just talked about that. What, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yep. So I had to get him to sign my Viking. Oddly enough, Gonzo, Mike Gonzalez, the bass player for Viking and Dark Angel, actually lives in New Mexico. Didn't know that until the show, which of course is where I am from. So we talked a little bit about that, and New Mexico culture and green chili and all those kind of fun things. Anyhow, that was my Dark Angel day. That was pretty much the entire day. We were there from pretty much noon till midnight. But it was a freaking blast. They were fantastic. Anybody who got to go, they were just on top of their game. Both bands were like super tight and put on great performance. And Ron was just hitting all the high notes. Just sounded fantastic. So loved it. Next day, I met up with we had lunch with Steve Gaines of Avatar. So of course I brought my Avatar record to get signed. Dummy me didn't think to have Juan Garcia, who was in Evil Dead, sign it as well, because Avatar pretty much became Evil Dead. But I didn't take this record with me. I had left it at Bill's house. So anyhow, it's got lead vocalist signature on there, so that was cool. We had lunch with him. We talked metal. We talked Judas Priest. He plays in a Judas Priest tribute band. And then, as of course, Anger is Art. And they got a bunch of tour dates coming up too. So that was pretty cool. And then finally, I also did. There's a picture of Ron that I sent this photo to him in 2017, I think, and he's had it ever since. And he gave it to me at the show signed, so that was kind of fun.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, hang on, a couple more things here, real quick.
Yeah, no, do your thing, dude.
Brought along one of, I got several Dark Angel. I'm a Dark Angel fanatic. I've been for years, so I got all kinds of Dark Angel crap. But I took along one of my favorite Dark Angel photos and had the whole band signed it. If you look really closely, and it's going to be hard to see, right above Gene's head right there, you see that little black speck? I remember when I got this photo, I thought it was like something on there, and I tried to wipe it off. So when I handed it to Gene to sign, he's laughing. He goes, "Dude, I swear that's a UFO over us right there." It kind of looks like that.
Maybe it was the band UFO flying in for a show.
Maybe. And then I couldn't not get this.
The truth is out there.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is very cool.
The atomic clock. So yeah, I had to get that. And then one more cool thing happened while I was with Dark Angel when talking to Gene. Gene was super friendly, man. I mean, the guy was just chatting us all up. And that was still when we were in the green room. I never seen him come out of the green room. Actually, he didn't even do most sound check. He didn't come out for sound check till it was a full band playing full songs. He had his roadie doing it, but he was telling us, he goes, "Man, the artist who shot this photo, the photographer, this is an actual real bedroom and a real person in there." He goes, "Had no idea we were doing a Led Zeppelin cover on here," but he goes, "If you look really closely up on the wall, they had to put these fake pictures up there to hide the giant Led Zeppelin logo painted on the wall." But I never noticed it before. But if you look right under the wing right there, you can still see part of the Led Zeppelin logo on there.
Oh, wow.
I've had this album for decades, never noticed that Led Zeppelin logo on there. So that was kind of a little interesting nerdy fact that I didn't know that he told us. And finally, we met up with Glenn Rogers for dinner. And of course, he had I've got a bazillion things signed by him. He's such a cool cat. But his new album Primal was out, so we were talking a little bit about that. Got some autographs by the whole band that you can see here. So I got a few of these signed for some buddies like you guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So there you go, the new Primal. Matter of fact, I was just listening to this album again, and I can honestly say right now that this album is currently one of No Lights and Metal's best-selling records. It's still moving. So thanks to Glenn pushing the crap out of it on social media. So there you go. Anyhow, so yeah, it was awesome. It was a fun time, and we hit a few record stores. I talked up some of the owners of the record stores, and we talked record store day and what they were getting in and what the hottest records were. And there was 3 records everybody was asking for. He said they were so hot that multiple people were coming in. Matter of fact, while I was in one of them, some girl came in asking for one of them. He goes, "She's been in every day asking if I've got it in yet, but I can't sell it to her till Saturday." But anyhow, the 3 hottest titles were Eric Carr's solo album, which apparently there's plenty of those to go around because all the stores I was at said they ordered 15 to 20 of them and pretty much got what they ordered. There's only 1,000 stores in the United States as part of Record Store Day, as far as I know, and I think there was 4,000 or 5,000 of those pressed up. So what I did find out though was for all you guys who care, the Eric Carr CD, which is also releasing on Record Store Day, they only pressed up 500 of the CDs. So those are going to be the hot commodity of there. The other one was that pop diva girl. What's her name?
You're a Swiftie. Come on.
I don't remember her name.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Taylor Swift. That was the other hot one. But the hottest title of all.
No, this rule. Hang on. Hey, do you have yours there?
I probably do.
Hang on.
I'll take a look.
Oh, is this? I know what you're getting.
Yeah, you know.
Is that the one you guys did, right?
Yeah, everybody was
Yeah,
surprised.
I know what it is. I just watched a video today, a Record Store Day video, where they were talking about that album.
Yeah, I don't have my hand. It's around here somewhere, but I don't have it handy. But anyhow, I'll wait till he comes back.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
The hottest Record Store
The hottest
Day
title.
release. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hey, brother.
Hey, brother.
Yep. Oh yeah. Macho
Yeah.
Man, Randy Savage, Be a Man record. 1,000 pressed. One record store I went into, I was talking to the owner. He's like, yeah, I ordered. He goes, like, there's basically like 3 places I ordered from. And he goes, and I ordered 15 copies of that from each of them. He goes, I got in one. So, and then the other store I went into, he's like, yeah, I got in one. Then the last store I went into was a much smaller store, probably about the size of my music room. And the guy's like, yeah, I never get that kind of stuff. And he goes, I'll order 510 and they'll give me none. He goes, but surprisingly this year, he goes, I got one. So I took a picture of myself holding the record and sent it off to the guy who owns the label.
Those Van Halens are going to be crazy. I guess they only did 7,500 of them. And I've talked to a couple record stores here locally that didn't get any. They ordered, every record store ordered like 20 of them. And most record stores got 1 or 2 or they got none.
I'm such a bad Record Store Day guy. I didn't even go out last year after going for several years. I haven't even seen the list this year. What's Van Halen doing?
They're doing the Right Here, Right Now, the double live.
Oh, okay.
It's it's 4 LP for $99.
Y'all can have that one.
Yeah, that'll sell like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll sell, brother.
I wish Van Halen would have done a live album during the peak of, like 80, 81, 82, somewhere in that area. But didn't happen.
Oh, dude, I just got a sound. We're starting to get into how the show works. Scatter shooting a little bit. I just got a 78 soundboard from England, maybe. I can't remember. Hang on. Oh, come on. Well, I can't. Here we go. Manchester. Oh, my gosh, it's good. May 22nd, 1978, Manchester. Somebody sent me that. And it is so freaking good, man.
Oh yeah.
A lot of these soundboards that are going around now are better than some of the best live albums out there. There's some killer stuff coming out.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, I really like to get the Ted Nugent coming out too. That's coming out. It's like all the free for all demos and unreleased tracks.
Is that at Record Store Day?
It is Record Store Day, but I talked to all 3. Like I said, I talked to all 3 stores, and none of them had it.
I didn't even hear about it. So
I need to. Yeah,
there's some good titles this time around.
Yeah, I was really surprised. There were quite a few that looked good, but
yeah, I mean, let me see. There's a few more. I'm looking my little email here to see because there was a few that I'm like, yeah, I got to get that. I got some great photos of Dark Angel, by the way. Some of them were because I was taking pictures during the sound check. Matter of fact, I walked up in front of Eric Meyer, and he had his stage, his paper with the songs on it, and I put my phone on there and snapped a picture, and I got a picture of him going, no cheating.
Well, it's not really cheating when you know that they're going to play the whole album, is it?
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, they played the album last. So they played a bunch of stuff up front and then the album last. But
So
yeah, Eric.
I don't know if you guys heard the news. Did you see that the Cavalera brothers are going to re-record
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
re-release the first few Sepultura albums?
Yeah,
Oh
I kind
wow.
of like might be cool. I mean, those things are pretty raw, but that's kind of part of their charm.
I was
So
shocked how good. I might have talked to you about it. I just saw them when they did the full Beneath the Remains and what was the album after that? The one with the brown cover.
okay, yeah, I don't remember.
Chaos AD. No, that's
Arise.
No, Arise.
right.
There you
They
go.
did the full Beneath the Remains and the full Arise. They sounded amazing. I mean, Max's voice, I don't know if it was because I saw him right before the pandemic. His voice didn't sound that good. I don't know if just the rest from the pandemic helped his voice or if he just trained longer before this tour. But man, they sounded great. And hearing them do those really heavy early songs, it was killer. I mean, I've seen him. I saw him a few times at Sepultura, and they weren't playing any of that early stuff. So it was really cool.
Hey, brother Lee is here. What's up, Noise Spectrum?
Hi, what's up, Lee?
Martin
We're
Bailey's
going
here.
to-
What's
My
up,
buddy
Martin?
Richie and I are going to be barbecuing for Creator and Sepultura when they come through. That's going to be crazy. They've already given us passes and the whole bit. Richie got that connection, and then later in May, I can't remember when the Sepultura show is. Maybe May 2nd or something. And then later in the month, on the 26th, we're going down to Cedar Park, Texas, near Austin to barbecue for Slaughter. How about that? Not
Oh,
the
that's
Canadian
cool.
Slaughter. I know
Yeah,
that's what Carcass would say.
I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was touring again.
Yeah, they're doing their thing, man.
Because it's just the one dude, right? He's the only one that from the original Slaughter lineup, isn't he?
No, it's Mark and Dana for sure, and then
Okay.
they've had Jeff Blando since Tim died, and then now the drummer I don't know. I don't because Bloss is in the Blue Man group now, but I don't know. The last time I saw Slaughter, it was Zoltan Chaney was playing with him, and he was freaking great. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. That's a little couple of quick
Yeah, it's
hits
not
there,
really. It
and
wouldn't be
I'll have-
Slaughter without. It just wouldn't be Slaughter without Danish Drum. But in
yeah,
any case, I was gonna say, yeah, the Ted Nugent album that I was talking about, which I just lost because of my screen shut, is called. Hang on, almost there. Sorry. This is production quality right here. It's called Nuge Vault Volume 1 Free for All. The other ones I'm interested in is the Motorhead Lost Tapes Volume 4 because I've got Lost Tapes 1, 2, and 3, so I gotta have 4.
Yeah.
And then it's not a huge one, but I wouldn't mind having. Also, is the Best of Death album that they're putting out on vinyl again.
I've got an original pressing of that one, so I might get it. I don't know. The original pressing sounds good though.
If I had the original pressing, I'd pass on this one, but I never could find an original pressing. So
Well, they needed to
I'm kind of hoping I'll
repress because
find
the
one.
original pressings are going for like 150, 200 bucks
Right.
now.
Which is why, yeah, I'd love to get a copy. So, unfortunately, I don't go to Record Store Day because there is none of that where I'm at. So I have to always rely on my friends to find stuff for me.
There's no stores in Albuquerque that do it.
There is one store in Albuquerque that does it, and they have
Fine.
cut the size of their store down by. It was like in a strip mall, and they had
Oh,
4
yeah.
of the things. Now it's only in 2. And when I talked to them, they said that they were kind of not real happy with Record Store Day for the last few years because they were basically getting nothing from what they were ordering. So they really were stopping doing it altogether, which is unfortunate. Because I know talking to the stores in California, that's basically how they survive all years is the 2 Record Store Days.
Yeah, I saw something where they prioritize the standalone stores and the stores that are open 7 days a week. Like we have a store right down the road from me that's only open 2 days a week, and Record Store Day cut them off because they're not a full time record store. And so yeah.
That's lame.
You bring up
record store.
Sepultura though. It's funny though because I saw Sepultura last year. It's kind of sad because Derek Green's been in the band for what, like 25 years now,
Yeah.
longer than Max and Igor ever was, you know. And when they play, nobody cares about any of the songs that they released after Max left. Like everybody goes crazy for the Max era songs, and it's dead quiet when any of the later songs get played. So.
Wow. It's going to be interesting to see that because I've never seen Sepultura at all. So seeing this version will be interesting. And I've never seen Creator. So I'm going to have to do a little brush up on my thrash before I go. But speaking of thrash, we promised to talk about this, and we've been called out by the metal master from H-Town, the great Fraser Dawson. So we need to talk about the new Metallica. Scott, are you buckled in? Steve, are you buckled in? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Yeah, my copy
All right.
still has not arrived. It's supposed to arrive yesterday. It's still not here. I
Mine
pre-ordered
showed
it,
up
but I did get to hear it.
yesterday
I got here twice. I heard it twice all the way through, so I did get to hear it.
Mine showed up yesterday after saying it would be here on Friday, and then they changed it and said it would be here Wednesday. It came yesterday. I did go ahead and listen to most of it before the CD showed up. And first of all, man,
Cool splatter vinyl, by the way.
I'm a little
What's that?
wound up about this.
Cool splatter
Yeah,
vinyl.
that was the Metallica Club version. It was a real limited run.
Oh, that's cool. I'm a little wound up about this because, and I know that Scott and I are probably going to have a little bit of differing opinion on it, and that's cool. That's why we do the show, because not everybody thinks the same. But I can't believe how polarizing anything Metallica does. It's always super polarizing, and I don't like to do negative reviews, so I typically just don't. If I don't care about something, I just don't say much about it. But man, everybody wants Master of Puppets 2. And that's not what they've been about for 30 years, man. And so it just bums me out when everybody just shits on everything that Metallica does, and Lars sucks and Kirk sucks and blah, blah, blah. They're in Metallica. They're doing great. And they don't give a shit what we think. But having said all that, you can think what you want about Lars. He's the drummer of Metallica. You can think what you want about Kirk. He's the drummer of Metallica.
The guitar player.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, they don't have two drummers, I don't think. But man, I will be curious to see. I kind of know what Scott thinks, but I'll be curious to see what you think, Steve. I like it. I think it's a little all over the map between there's a Black Album song, there's a song from here, a song from there, little nod to Nawabum. Overall, I've listened to it a couple times all the way through. I want to look at the song title so I know what I'm talking about.
I listened to it all the way through a couple times as well. And when I was out in LA, Bill and I played it in his car while we were driving around from record stores and whatnot.
Yeah, I like the packaging. The packaging's pretty cool. It folds out, and you can see all their faces, which is pretty neat. Somebody's like, "Man, they're looking old." Well, guess what? They're old.
Almost 60.
Yeah, I mean,
the pictures are really cool. I think that's the best thing about the album art is those photos.
I love it.
I like the pictures, but I'll tell you right now, looking at it and doing the stuff I do, they purposely sharpen those pictures like crazy to make them look all wrinkly like that.
Maybe, yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
But it's so here's my quick take on it, because I don't want to whip y'all's butt with this huge Metallica review, because I'm more interested in what you two have to say. But 72 Seasons, I like it. Shadows Follow, I like it. Screaming Suicide, I like it. See, I just really like the first half to 2/3 of the album, and I haven't gotten so far as to let the last part sink in. So I'm probably through 8 or 9 of the 12 songs several times, through the album all the way a couple times. But man, I dig it. And it's the same thing I said about Pink Floyd when people were bitching about The Endless River. And I know it was leftover stuff that they put out, but do you want more Metallica or do you not want more Metallica? I want more Metallica. And I don't care if this one sounds like the last one, although if you like the last two, I think you'll really dig this one. This one to me seems maybe even a little more focused, although, there's some different sounding tracks on it. It to me is a more cohesive album. I really like it, man. I give it a total thumbs up. I'll be spinning it quite a bit. What do you think, Steve?
I'm kind of the opposite and kind of split. I really liked the last album. I thought Hardwired, all the thrash songs on there were killer. That was the first time they really did thrash in 30 years. And I was hoping to hear a little bit more of that, and there's really not any of that on this album. This album is more. I think it harkens back more to Load and Reload, where it's the bluesy hard rock and the bluesy metal as opposed to the thrash, which is cool. I don't mind that. Um, Now, I purposely didn't listen to any of the singles before the album came out. I don't. I'm to the point now where I just like listening to the album as a whole, and so I know a lot of people fell in love with like Lex Eterna, and
Yeah,
I thought that was one of the weaker songs on the album. Honestly, when I listened to the whole album, the song that really stood out to me was Crown of Barbed Wire is probably my favorite song on here, and then Screaming Suicides, and then Sleepwalk My Life Away.
yeah.
But my issue with this album is the same issue I've had with every album since the Black Album. It's super bloated.
Yes.
It's almost 80 minutes long, and
Preach.
they started with Load, where Load was like 120 minutes long, and every album since then has been like 75 minutes or longer. And if they cut like two or three songs off and gave us a good 45, 50-minute album, it probably would I would have liked it a lot more, you know. Um, the other issue I have is there's some intros that sound like it's going to be a really killer thrash song, and then the main riff kicks in, and it's like a bluesy hard rock, which kind of I would get pumped up like I was expecting like this really killer song, and then it wasn't it wouldn't be a bad thing, but I was expecting something else from the intro, and then the other issue I have is a lot of it just sounds the same. There's like 6 songs on here that sound like the same song, and I also noticed that and this is something I haven't noticed on the last 2 albums, which, like I said, I love the last album. I liked Death Magnetic as well. I heard a lot of reused riffs on this one, which I
I did.
haven't heard them do in the past.
Yeah, I did notice that as well. There were a couple things that I was like, "Wait a minute, is that a bastardized Inner Sandman that I'm
Yeah,
hearing right now?" Go
like
ahead. Yeah.
there were 2 intros that were completely reminiscent of early intros. There were a couple of main riffs and some licks in the solos that were from earlier albums, and maybe they did that intentionally. Maybe they were trying to go back to I mean, that's possible. But I mean, overall, listen, I think it's a good album. Here's the problem with it, and it's the same problem I've had with their last few albums. I felt the same way about Death Magnetic and even Hardwired. Like I said, I love that album. I'm going to listen to it for 2 months, and then it's going to go on my shelf, and I'm never going to listen to it again. And that's
I
just
think I'll revisit this one. I really do. I did not revisit Death Magnetic a lot. I revisited Hardwired a lot more than I thought I would. But to your point, I thought it was pretty thrashy and cool, and I liked, what they kind of came back to. But we're just never going to get Master of Puppets again, and
no, and I
I'm
don't
okay with
expect
that.
that. I
I
like
don't.
I
Yeah,
said, I like so Load is much more bloated. There's a lot more songs on Load that I dislike, but Load has like 4 really killer songs that are just like top tier songs.
yep,
And I don't think they've had an album like that since Reload, where they've had like 3 or 4 just like really good top 10 singles. And like I said, there's a couple songs on here I really like, but not nothing like what they were putting out through Load and Reload. Uh,
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I
yeah,
desire.
I mean those were great songs that you stuck in your head and you were
yeah.
Yep.
singing forever. And actually, it's funny you bring up Fuel, because there's a song on here that every time I listen to it, Fuel pops into my head. And it doesn't sound like Fuel, it's just the feel of the song. It's got that Load feel to it. So, but like I said, I mean, I do like the album. I just don't think it's one that after a few months that I'm going to revisit. And when I'm in sadly, when I'm in the mood for Metallica, I still go back to the first 4 albums. Um,
Sure.
I love
Yeah,
the Black Album too. I've just listened to that so much over the years that I don't feel like
yeah.
listening to it.
I,
But
I think what this album made me think of is getting in the car and being on a drive and putting the whole damn thing on and listening to the whole just letting it go. I didn't hear anything that like you said, that made me think, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to listen to this song over and over." There's no fuel or whatever, but I think I'm going to grow into it even more because I really like the record, but I think I'm going to grow into it even more. But to me, the thing that struck me the most was this is a good long listen while I'm working, while I'm driving, something like that. So,
When you need to fall
um,
asleep.
Well,
what do
me and
you think
Scott,
about it? What do you
Scott
think
and I
about
were
it, Scott?
talking. If they really need a producer in there that's going to edit them, and that's got, because I guarantee they've had Yes Men ever since the Black Album. They haven't had a producer that's going to tell them, "Hey, that's not good," or "Hey, you need to edit this," or "Hey, you know what I mean." And I think they really need that, because there's some spots in here too where the songs could be killer, and then James just does something really weird with the vocal, and it just kind of throws the song off. That's the way Lex Eterna is for me. When he does the transition from the verse to the what is it? What am I saying?
Course,
Yeah, when he
bridge.
does the transition, it's just this weird choice that he makes with the song that kills that song for me. And if they had somebody like Andy Sneap or one of the big metal producers, it's really helping these older bands put out some of their best out. Like Accept has put out some of the best albums of their career, and I listen to their new stuff more than their old stuff, and that's one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yep.
Same thing with Testament. Testament's had a couple amazing albums that I listen to all the time still,
Hmm.
and I'm just
Judas
not.
Priest.
Judas
Judas
Priest, the
Priest
last
last
Judas
Oh
couple
my
Priest
albums.
God.
album, I think is one of the best metal albums of the last 30 years,
Yeah.
and
And
I just don't feel that way
what's the
about
common
any of the
denominator?
Metallica albums.
Yeah.
What
Andy
is the
Sneap.
what's the common denominator? Andy
Andy
Sneap.
Sneap.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or just a
Or-
producer that knows
Right.
metal and gets these bands to and pushes these bands to do what he knows they can do best.
yeah.
I can see that. I can totally, even though I like it and we might disagree on what we think
I,
about it, I can agree with your points. I can understand totally what you guys are saying. The one part that loses me on the album is, man, the 11-minute closer, and I think there's another one that's 7 or 8 minutes. But that's also where Iron Maiden loses me. It's just like, get
well, they're another
on
one that
with
need a
it, man. I'd
producer.
rather hear another song.
Well, what's funny is people forget Metallica was that way in the 80s. They had
They
7 minute
did.
songs, but they were killer 7 minute songs that were super dynamic. They changed throughout,
Right.
Whereas this is an 11-minute song where the song is the same all the way through,
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
overall, I give it a thumbs up. I think if you like the last two or three, you're going to like it. You
I
know,
mean, my opinion is that there's some decent riffs on there. I know people bag on the guitar solos, but I don't think the guitar solos are that bad. A lot of wah stuff is what you kind of expect, from
Kurt's
Metallica.
into the bluesy stuff now. He has been for a long
And I
time, and
dig.
I,
I
I
don't.
think it's cool.
There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with that.
no,
My problem is I'm gonna say at least half the songs are close to 7 minutes long or over, and just like this Jeff Batcher just said on here, he said it's long, but you get one album every 6 years, so I'm good with it. That would be fine if it was long with 20 songs that were 4, 3, 4, 5 minutes long. But we've got what 11, 12 songs that are 8, 10, 11 minutes long, and some of the songs just drag on and on and on, and they don't need to be that long. I was sitting in the car with my buddy Bill and they were taking me to the airport, and so I was sitting in the back, and his wife was up front with him, and he had the Metallica album on still because we listened to it a couple times at least, and we listened to the first song, and she's like, "Man, this is still the same song." I'm like, "Yep." She goes, this is boring," and I mean, so even someone who's not a big, metal fan, just a music fan in general, noticed it immediately. I'll also say that Overkill released an album on the very same day
yep.
that blows the doors off of Metallica's album. I'll take that Overkill album any day over them. I'll take that Overkill
Mine
over
still hasn't
Metallica any
come
day of
in.
the
They
week.
keep extending. I pre-ordered it like 6 months ago, and they keep extending when it's supposed to be the 26th now.
Yeah, I got it too, but I get to hear the whole thing. So, and it sounded incredible to me. I mean, I loved it. But again, I've only heard it twice, and I heard it in someone else's car. So my copy's still not here yet. I pre-ordered it from Amazon, so I'm still waiting for it to arrive. So I'll give it a few more spins on and see what it's like when I get it on the turntable. But I'm really not expecting the opinion to change. I kind of like the last two albums. Again, like Steve, I liked them a lot when they first came out. Played them a lot when they first came out, and they've been on the shelf ever since.
So, talk about the new Overkill. Have you guys heard it?
Nah,
I have heard it.
again, I'm waiting until I get the record in.
Right on.
I heard it all the way through once, and it's production's great, songwriting's great, guitar solos are otherworldly as usual. Most of the songs are, exactly what you expect, and somewhere between fast, heavy thrash to a bit more on the groove side.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I'm not going to say it's a perfect 10 album from them, but I thought it was really well done. I mean, I listened to it once, and I can't remember which song it is now without looking it up, but I still had one of the songs stuck in my head, the next day after I heard the album,
Right.
um,
I listened
which
to
I
it.
can't.
I heard it all the way through today. Finally, sat down and listened to it, and could pay attention while I was listening to it. And it's AC/DC, it's Motorhead, it's Overkill. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's not any better. It's not any worse. I don't mean it's not any better in a negative way. I don't mean it like that. I mean, it's Overkill. Stamp. Here comes the next one. It's great. It's a great album. Is
Yep.
it better than Metallica? Sure. If you love heavier stuff and you don't like the modern Metallica, you're going to think that the Overkill is way better. And I get that. That's totally fine. But it's a little apples and oranges. Is it better? Yeah, if you're a thrash
Well, I mean,
metal.
let's do apples to apples. The newest Megadeth album is a lot better than the Metallica.
Now we're on to something. The last couple of Megadeth records have been phenomenal. I think he's got my favorite lineup that he ever had was the Rust in Peace lineup. But
Dude,
man,
Kiko, was it Kiko Lauro?
yeah,
Dude, that guy is amazing. And
man,
Marty Friedman said that he's a better guitarist than Marty Friedman is. Dude, that
man,
guy is amazing.
the last two Megadeth records are fantastic. And I listened to Dystopia a ton
Yeah.
and loved it. Haven't revisited it enough. I'll get there, Fraser. Haven't listened to it as much as I thought I would. But I just keep, for some reason, not going back to it because we all get inundated with so much music with our, you know, radio shows and YouTube shows and whatever. So, but man, that new one, I need to spin it more because it kicks ass.
Yeah.
And Frazier, I have not heard the new LA Guns. I know I'm the hair metal guy on the show, but I have not heard it.
And I just bought tickets again. I just saw Mustaine like 3 months ago, or the end of last year. So I guess it's a little bit longer. And I just bought tickets to go down in Florida. I'm going to go see him with the Misfits. So,
Well,
Right on.
yeah, I've never seen. Danzig's one of my all-time favorites, and I've always wanted to see the Misfits with Danzig. So as soon as they announced that it's within drive, because all the shows have been in like Vegas or LA or New York or New Jersey, So
Right.
to have one within driving distance of Atlanta, I had to go. So it's a 6-hour drive, but I can't wait to see that show.
That'll be
I'll
fun.
tell you one thing. After seeing Dark Angel and Evil Dead played a song off their new upcoming album. That's going to be amazing. And I can't. They didn't play any new Dark Angel, but I can't wait for the new Dark
Have they
Angel
started
album.
recording it yet?
Yes, they have.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know. I remember we talked about it when Ron was on the show.
Yeah,
Hey,
I don't know. I don't know a name. I don't know anything. All I know is they're working on a new album. That's as much information as I have, which pretty much is what's in the public right now. So I'm not like hiding any information that Ron's told me confidentially. There's just nothing.
yeah.
I
All
tell
they're
you
doing is
what, it
recording.
doesn't get a lot of love, but since that reissue came out of the Dark Angel debut, I've been listening to that nonstop, man. I had never owned that on any pressing, and that's such a great album.
Yeah, it's really raw. I don't know. I can't. It's hard. Gene's not on it. Gene didn't play the drums on that one. So, but I'll tell you one thing. Now we're back on Dark Angel for a second. Gene definitely runs that band. He is the man in charge. You could just tell just being there. But
I thought
I'm
Gene
also looking.
formed the band.
No, he did not. He didn't play on that first album.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew it was a different singer.
Yeah, Don Dottie sang on that first two albums. I don't know Don. I've never met him other than chatting online with him a few times. But I get different stories. He quit. They fired him. But the looks like the one that was most true is probably he struggled in the studio on that album big time, and the band was just like he can't hack it. He's out, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So that's why Don was kicked out. But he wasn't actually. Ron wasn't the first replacement. They had other replacements singing for him after Ron came in.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the, and then Ron's been with him ever since. His
Yeah, he was
debut
on
was
the third album, right? Was one that the first one that he was on?
yeah, he was on. I mean, he was on the last two albums in the live EP, and his first recording with them was actually the Ultimate Revenge 2 soundtrack. So
Yeah, somebody named Jack Schwartz. Yeah, it was on drums. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was Gene that was on there. That's cool.
I don't think they did any like touring or anything like that without Gene, and it's pretty much I don't know anything about them, legally or anything.
Well,
That's
yeah,
pretty
it's
much
like
his
Ron
band.
said. Gene pretty much writes every single lick of the Dark Angel stuff. So
Yep.
Yeah.
In any case, but we
Hey,
got back to
so-
Dark Angel from Metallica.
So part of what we do on the Metal Roundtable is, try to talk about different things, introduce each other to stuff. So sell me on Evil Dead. Not that I need to be sold, but honestly, I miss them.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me answer the question. Heavy Metallurgy, yes, they are definitely recording a new album. I know that for a fact. Yes, they are recording a new album.
So Evil Dead is something that I've seen pass across my desk a couple times. I'll buy a collection, it'll have Evil Dead in it, but somehow they never landed in my collection because I don't think I heard it. Sell me on it. Tell me more.
If you like Dark Angel, you're gonna like Evil Dead. Very similar style, very heavy, very brutal. But I mean, their guitar player is a metal legend. I mean, it's Juan Garcia, who was also in Agent Steel as well as Avatar. I think he was also in, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he in that rap metal group with the God? What's that guy's name?
Oh, Ice-T.
Yeah, with Ice-T.
Body
I'm
Count.
pretty.
Yeah,
I'm
Body
pretty sure he was.
Count.
Pretty sure he
think
was in.
you're right.
I think he was in Body Count as well. There you go. It's Heavy Metallurgy back. Already said it. Body
Go
Count.
Cowboys.
So anyhow, yeah. So he's a legend. So I was really looking forward to meeting him. I only spent a couple minutes talking to him, but man, just a great guy, a really nice guy, and if you like any of those bands, you're gonna like Evil Dead.
Okay.
They have 3 full-length albums out and an EP. The EP came out first. And then they're working on their 4th full-length album now.
Okay, so they're still doing new stuff. I heard you guys talking about that earlier. So
I mean, they broke up for years, but they put out a new album. What was it, last year, year before last? That's the one I just recently showed. When I was showing that got signed. But yeah, I mean, it's thrash. But it's got hooks. That's I don't know. For me, if music has no hooks, it can be boring.
right.
These guys definitely have hooks. So
Okay.
they're working with Bill. They work with Bill Matoyer from Metal Blade, so that should tell you something there as well.
Yeah.
So Bill Matoyer's doing their mixing. At least they did on the last album. I don't know if he's working on the new one as well, but
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know
I'll check
I don't know what
into
to tell you
those.
other than that. Other than that, they're a classic thrash band.
Well, and
Yeah,
I've
they're
heard
another one
Dirty
of those
Mary-
bands that were around in the late '80s and disappeared for like 30 years, and like 2020 popped up with a new album.
Yep, pretty much. And now they're like touring all over the. They're playing all the European metal festivals out there. So
Ryan Roebuck. Did you read that?
yeah, cute new album.
Dude's a genius.
So I did want to point. Did you guys? I don't know if you guys saw this or you, Scott. They just repressed all the Intruder albums.
Oh, cool! No, I did not see that.
And if you haven't grabbed those, or if you guys are into thrash, man, all of these albums are killer. I had an original of the second one, so I didn't get it, but they did all 4 of their albums.
Okay.
And you
Notice
get
I'm
those
taking
for
a
like
note down.
$25. So
Well, anyhow, yeah. I mean, if you like thrash, you're gonna like them. They're just a very, very good band. Great riffing, fast songs. All that machine. I call it machine gun riffing, and then you got the rhythm section that'll beat you over the head. Their drummer is amazing, and I think he's the original drummer. Has been with them since the first album. He might have not played on all their albums, but he's played on most of them. Forgetting his name, I just met him too. Rob Alanez. There he is, pictured right
they're
there.
an LA band, right?
They're an LA band. That was one of the things I had a discussion with. Well, we actually talked a little bit about it with Kate and live on the show last week.
That was a great show, by the way, guys.
Thanks. The Bay Area.
Thanks. That was fun.
The Bay Area
was
gets
awesome.
all the love, and everybody's like Bay Area thrash rules. But honestly, thrash came from L.A.
Well, half those guys in the Bay Area bands were from LA too.
Yep, Megadeth,
A lot of those
Metallica, and
guys were from
Slayer were
LA.
all LA bands. Now, Exodus were definitely a Bay Area band, right?
And Death
So,
Angel.
and Death Angel, but Dark Angel, Hyrax, and I mean, even bands like Vengeance Rising and Deliverance, they were LA bands.
Yep.
We were just talking about Death Angel, man. I was real late to them. I didn't get into them in the 80s. I didn't get into them till like 5 or 6 years ago. If you get a chance to see them live, they're one of the best live thrash albums out there. But I knew they were young when they did their first album, but the drummer was 14 and the other three guys were like 16 and 17 when they did that first album, which is crazy for as heavy as it is.
I have not heard, and I don't think I have. I heard that album that Alex Lifeson played on.
Crownlands is good if you guys haven't checked that one out.
I did pick this one up.
About that. I saw him mention that.
Crownlands, think Greta Van Fleet with a little more Rush edge to it.
Okay.
The singer sounds real similar to the guy from Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I bought this one on the advice of a friend who, Alex Lifeson's in this band. Check it out. I bought it, listened to it once, and I barely got through the first side, so just not what I was expecting, I guess. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not something that grabbed me. It's not. I don't know. Alex Lifeson, the stuff he did in the '70s with Rush is amazing, and it's almost like on this thing, is he even on there? I mean, it's like the guitar. It's what's the guitar player? Vivian Campbell. It's like Vivian Campbell and Def Leppard. Is he even playing?
I did that with Jason Newsted, the first band he did, like Echo Brain or whatever it was. It was like, oh, this is Jason Newsted's new album. I was expecting metal, and it was like this really weird alternative type thing. So yeah. I don't know, guys that will leave a big band or the band will fall apart, and it's like they try to do something that's completely different than what they're known for, and usually they all get back to what they were originally doing. But yeah,
let's just leave this up here because this is the best comment of the day. There we go.
That is the best comment of the day.
It isn't. I will say a lot of people have mentioned the cover. It is a weird cover. There's nothing metal about this cover.
I agree.
I love the pictures on the inside. I don't mind the yellow and black, but this is just.
I wonder where they got the yellow and black from.
You would think this is like some kind of alternative rock album, just based on.
They should have called it the Yellow and Black Attack. That would have been a cool name.
Oh, don't get me started.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't mind the cover. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I like it better than some of the other ones that they've done recently. So it's far better than the grave that's part grave, part crotch. So
which one is that?
Death Magnetic.
Death Magnetic.
Yeah, it's a girl's crotch and a grave at the same time.
I like the Death Magnetic that I had. The record where it's got the die cut, all the different die cuts, so it actually looks like it's a grave. That was pretty. I will say with Death Magnetic, if I think Beyond Magnetic, the EP that came out after with the songs they left off, I think those 4 songs were better than anything on the actual album.
Dad rock. If Metallica's something, if Metallica's anything, they're grandfather rock. So we're all. Yep.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I love Dad rock.
So Newsted just announced that he's bringing his metal band back, and he's going to do another album. That last Newsted album was fantastic. I don't know if you guys heard that.
I can't remember. Was it the one? Wasn't it called Heavy Metal or something?
It was Newsted Metal or Newsted Heavy Metal, something like that. It was. I thought it was killer though.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
good.
I can tell you what, the old guys may be moving away from some of the old guys may be moving away from thrash, but from what I heard from Evil Dead, they are not moving away from thrash, and Dark Angel are definitely not moving away from thrash. So
there's a lot of, Overkill, Megadeth, they're all still putting out killer thrash. Testament. I'm curious to see what Testament does though, because I guess Lombardo's been fired from the band.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
He didn't sound good. So when I saw Testament last year with him on drums, he was off the whole show. Now, it was only the second or third show of the tour, so it just may be that he hadn't found the songs yet, but he was a little bit off. And maybe it was because like 6 months earlier, I had seen him with Gene Hoglan, and he was just a monster. I mean, he just murdered it. But yeah, Lombardo didn't sound great when I saw him with Testament last year.
Hmm.
My favorite
Interesting.
new band is I Wrestled a Bear Once.
I love that. That is my all-time favorite band name. It sounds stupid, and it's one word. It's I wrestled a bear
Yeah,
once in one word.
we've got a couple that we've been talking about as far as band names go. I wrestled a bear once, and can you recall the other one, Scott?
No, I'd have to look them up, but there's a
Ar-
bunch of those.
Arsonists get all the girls.
I
Arsonists Get
used
All the
to
Girls.
do
Yeah.
I used to do a what's the word I'm looking for? A blog back like 15 years ago when what was that one website that everybody used? Like you know what I'm talking about? And it doesn't matter. There was one blog site that everybody used to use, and I used to do a metal blog.
Oh, Blogspot.
No, that doesn't sound right. Maybe it is. You might be right. I can't remember what it was, but once a week I did obscure or killer band name, and it was all. That's how I found out about I Wrestled a Bear Once. Was I was looking for crazy band names, and that was like one of them that kept popping up.
Yeah.
I
Anyhow,
Which
wrestled a
oil
bear.
are you talking about, Frazier? The
He's talking about the Ron Reinhardt.
oh yeah, I've got the oil albums.
I've got the Royal albums too. Very different from Dark Angel. They were more of a
Yep.
groove band.
Yeah. Who
But
else was in that? Wasn't there somebody else in it?
oh crap! Sorry, spam. And I forgot to turn my phone off.
Right on.
Who
That's
else
all
was
right.
in oil? Wasn't there another guy from another one of the other big Christian bands in it?
No, it was pretty much. I mean, Blake Nelson was the main guy in there. He was the guitar player, songwriter, but not that I know of. I think all the other guys were, you know,
Yeah.
not to put them down or say they were bad musicians or anything, but they just weren't in big bands that I know of.
Right. Man,
Yeah, it was a short-lived one. They were pretty good though.
I haven't heard
Yeah,
that
they
stuff.
released
Years.
they had an EP out, and I thought the EP was the best thing they did. It was the first album they did, and a full length album out on Callabone Records or something like that, which they were kind of a I don't know what that label was, but it definitely wasn't a metal label and didn't do them justice. And then they had a live album that came out, which also had some bonus acoustic tracks on it that came
Yeah, I've
out
got the
on.
live album too. Yeah, we asked Ron about that when we did that interview with him. Was that like 6 months ago, 8 months ago?
Yeah,
And he had mentioned that it just fell apart. The guys
it
were
did.
all
It
doing
was
other
just
projects.
they had a hard time. It was a lot of button of heads in that band, and it's just the way it was. It's hard when you have more than one chief, in the band. So, and that's kind of what the way it was. I mean, everybody thought it was Ron's band. You know what I mean? Because he was the guy everybody knew from the band,
Yeah.
and I think that really bothered some of the other guys in the band who, you know, were writing the
Hey
music and
Rico, it's
everything.
funny you bring up. So that's one thing I criticized when I did my YouTube or my YouTube review of the Metallica. Not that Metallica needs a new drummer, but it's some of the most basic drums that he's done in his entire career. There's not a lot of double bass. There's a couple spots where he hits double bass for a few minutes. He barely does any drum fills. If they do, they're real basic ones. I will say it's recorded really well though. Like the drums sound really good, which hasn't been the case
I
on the
think so
last few
too.
Metallica albums. The
I think his
drums
drums
sounded
sound
good.
great.
They sounded good. As a drummer though, it's something I always key into. And his drums have gotten. And the last album, he brought back the more early sounding, the thrash drums, whereas with this one, it's more hard rock drums with metal riffs.
Cool.
But again, he's 60 years old.
Right. What do you want? We're
Yeah,
old. We're getting old.
yeah.
Well, you
I don't
boys
know.
got
Gene Hogan's up there, man, and that guy was. I swear his legs and his arms were not attached to his body because his body was perfectly still and his arms were. And he's just going and he's just looking around and smiling and playing. I'm like, damn, dude, he was like insane.
You know what helped him though, man? He lost like 200 pounds. I mean, that guy was so big for the longest time, and he lost all that. He's got to just be feeling better at this point.
Plus, from what I was told, he plays with weights on his legs, and he always
Mhm.
has.
Yeah,
I also found it interesting when I was watching him do the sound check. He was up there playing, and he had two drumsticks in each hand. They were taped together, and he was playing with two drumsticks. It's like I didn't ever notice that before, but
He
Thought it
was
was
the
cool.
first drummer I ever watched. You know, I grew up and my playing. It was always wild. You know, you're all over the place. You know, and he was the first drummer I saw. Danny Carey does this too. All of the drums are perfectly placed so that he barely moves, and he does all these really intricate rolls and fills, and he barely moves his body. And he's just figured out the exact amount of movement that he needs to do everything efficiently. And you see, if you watch the videos of Danny Carey from Tool, he does the same thing where he's not moving all over the place, you know, like a lot of drummers do. And I think that just helps him play more intricate stuff, you know, as he gets older. Whereas Dave Lombardo's always been a guy that was all over the place, you know. Um, so Neil Peart was the same way, and you saw Neil Peart slow down as he got older because he always had the drums everywhere, all around him, and he's like going all over the place. And I think Gene's kind of just figured out
He's had a really big kit with
the
tons of
prototype.
symbols and
Yeah,
stuff.
no, he
But
does. He has a huge kit, but he has
yeah,
everything like perfectly placed so that he's if you watch him, like his core barely moves.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
It
know,
was like his arms and legs were not attached to his body.
yeah.
His from here to here, it was perfectly still, and he's just everywhere, all over the place playing. And
He
he's fun to
also
watch.
he also plays nonstop. That guy has been. I think we looked it up. He's played on over 200 albums. I mean, he does stuff for bands you've never heard of before. You know, he's one of the top studio drummers. You know, and there's a lot of bands where he's not
Still
the
have this
drummer
sitting
in the
there.
band.
I had no idea he played on the demos for
Oh,
Hyrax.
I didn't know that.
I
There's a
didn't
lot
know
of
that.
bands though where they've got a good drummer, but he goes in the studio and records the album for him. So it was like that with the last couple of what's the industrial metal band?
Devin Townsend?
No, no. Oh my God, I can picture their Fear Factory.
Oh, Fear
Mm.
Factory.
Like he recorded the last few Fear Factory albums, but the guy from Raven is their touring drummer. It's not him that tours with him, you know, and he's done that with a lot of bands. He's touring with the guys from Death right now, on top of Dark Angel.
Speaking of Raven, they have a new album coming out too,
Yep.
which I'm very much looking forward to.
Richie Faulkner from Priest, his new band has an album coming out next month, and I've heard the first song and it sounds killer.
Oh, nice. What's it
Yeah,
called?
Richie Faulkner wrote it. Let me look it up. I got it pre-ordered. Hang on, I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, I need to check that out. That dude's a badass.
Man, every time I've seen him live, he steals the show. He is so good.
Yeah. God, that last Priest record was outstanding.
Oh, I still listen to it all the time. So his band is called Horns for a Halo.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's the name of the album. Elegant Weapons is the name of the band. And it's already up for pre-order on Amazon.
Okay. I will check that out. Going to like and follow them right now.
What's the name of the band again? Sorry.
Elegant Weapons.
Elegant Weapons. Yeah, you can pre-order it for like $25 on Amazon.
Vinyl or CD?
On vinyl. I tried to order it
I'll
directly from the band, but you got to do it from England, and it's like $15 shipping.
Wow.
Okay.
You type in elegant weapons in Amazon, you get some pretty unique looking stuff here.
We don't want to know about your personal life.
You guys got any parting shots before we close it up here?
No, man. I mean, I could talk about this crap forever. So.
Same. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Go out and buy this. This thing is killer.
Oh, that's so good. Yes, it is. Walk on Water tour with Michael Schenker.
Yeah.
Very good. Yep.
I've been playing this nonstop. This thing is amazing. I think it was 98, right?
Something like that. Yep. Walk on Water tour. Short-lived reunion of Schenker with UFO. But man, even the Walk on Water album is very good. I love both. Matter of fact, that's available on vinyl now too for the first time ever. And remastered CD.
And cassette.
Yep.
And
cassette.
Mini disc.
Who sings on that one, Scott? Do you know? I don't have it open to
On which?
the UFO.
It's Phil Mogg.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Phil Mogg. He's the one consistent member that's been on every single UFO album. As a matter of fact, he's the only one that's been on every single UFO album.
I don't have any of the 8 UFO albums after '85. I just didn't really like any of them.
And I don't know who the singer is in Elegant Weapons, Fraser. Matter of fact, I literally just found out about that just now, like you all did. So
Yeah, no, it was one of those things where on Facebook, it was one of those things where I follow Richie Faulkner, and he posted something on his Facebook saying pre-order now. So I had no idea it was coming.
I also pre-ordered the new Metal Church, which I'm looking forward to. Should be interesting. New singer, of course.
Yeah, that it sounds good. The first song. I just got this one in a couple days ago.
Oh, that's cool.
This was '86, I think. Yeah, '86 with David Wayne.
Yep. Metal Ben's Chronicles. What's up, brother?
If you guys haven't heard David Wayne's album Metal Church, grab that too. That's an amazing album.
Yeah, I've got.
I never heard anybody talk about.
I know a few record companies have tried to put that one out on vinyl, and it just hasn't happened. So
probably issues with his family and all the other guys in the band. You know how that stuff
could be, or I don't know. It's probably rights. Who owns what?
I would love to see him do the like Murder One and the Diano albums from the '90s are really killer too.
I do have one more parting shot. I might as well shout this out as well. Same day as the Metallica and Overkill, the brand new Vultures Gathering came out. So I don't know. Did you master this one, Rob?
I sure did.
There you go. So, which is Ryan Roebuck, who's going to comments. He's a guitar player in this band. So
he's a cute guitar player too.
He is cute. Yeah,
he'll go right along with that cute.
Yeah, I saw Glenn floating around in there somewhere too earlier.
Ross the Boss played. I didn't know what.
Yeah, I don't think that's correct.
No, it's not Ross the Boss.
No. Nope.
It's oh my god, we talked about this. I can't remember what band he's been in. Like the singer's been in like 3 other bands. He was in
is it Ronnie Romero?
He was in Jack Starr's. What's Jack Starr's band? Is it Burning Star?
Yeah.
He was a singer for Burning Star. Mark Lopez, formerly of Ross the Boss. And Let Us Pray. Does that sound right?
I don't know anything anymore.
It says, as posted today on the Metal Church social media site, February 2nd, 2000, Mark Lopez, ex-singer of Ross the Boss and Let Us Pray, is the band's new singer.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
Are true and it's official.
Yeah, Mark Lopez. It sounded phenomenal, though. That first single, I checked it out. I really liked it.
We stand corrected, Fraser.
Well, I was thinking he was saying it was Ross the Boss, but
right.
Speaking of Ross the Boss, so I was just listening to the Dictators a couple hours ago, their debut album.
I picked up a really cool Dictator 7-inch not too long ago, so
I didn't know the Dictators had so many albums. They've got like 10 albums. I only knew of like the first 2 or 3. I didn't know that they were around for as long as they were. He was doing them and what's the metal band he was in? Drawing a blank.
Who, Ross the Boss?
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Yeah, you said that, and I did the same thing.
I have no idea.
Man of War.
Yeah, this band.
Man of War. I knew it was Man of War, and I was clarifying and instantly forgot the name.
Heavy metal brain fart of the highest order.
Oh yeah. I mean, the band he's most known for.
Lord. I was, just to be funny, I was going to start throwing out hair metal names.
But Mark the Animal Mendoza was in the Dictators too, who of course was in Twisted Sister.
Right on. All right, boys, y'all ready to shove off?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Don't forget to pick this up on Record Store Day. You probably won't be able to find it because it is going to be sold
out. How many did he end up pressing?
1,000.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Stone Trip. Go check those dudes out. It's all released everywhere digitally. But if you want a hard copy, you can go on Facebook, go to their store and grab that. Grab the Primal, out now on Scott's label. You can follow me on Instagram at Metal Rob's Records, but if you don't want to see my record store exploits, then don't follow me
This
there.
one as well.
You're gonna get.
Yeah, that reptilian's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. You can follow Scott on YouTube by just searching Scott Waters. And Steve, tell them how to find you.
Harmless Rebel on YouTube.
There you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, boys. And we've also got a sponsor now that we have forgotten to talk about, mediatech.edu. If you want to learn all things mixing and mastering and video production and all that kind of stuff, check out mediatech.edu with campuses in Dallas and Houston. So we'll be saying more about that. We're going to have Carrie Crafton on in the next few weeks to talk about that and what they do. And then you'll see the logos in the opening and closing. And I just haven't gotten.
That's a place you went to school?
I will. I did not. Nope. I would love to. I wish they'd offer a mastering class, even though I've done it for 26 years now. I'd like to, just get sharper and better and learn, newer things. So
yeah, you can learn. You always learn something new, licks and tricks you didn't know.
And you do.
Anybody.
Yeah. Well, it took me forever to get out of rack gear and into computer stuff, and now I'll never go back because the workflow is so much easier. But anyway, well, you boys know how we do it. Who knows what we're going to talk about next week? We don't know if we're going to have a guest. We don't know if we even have a topic. You never know. But that's the beauty of being here. Steve, thanks for sitting in. I did not hear from Carcass while we were on the show with any updates. But once again, Carcass is out seeing to his lady. She's got a little situation going on, and they took her to the hospital. So hold a good thought for the Carcass and the Metal Queen. So that's it, boys. Y'all ready to sign off?
Yes, sir.
All right, you know how we do it. Oh, shit, I'm not ready. As usual, outro. And see, we've got 2 outros because I screwed up the first one. All right, until next time for episode 175, I'm Metal Rob saying, Metal will
prevail.
And you know it.
Evil eye,
Even
stink
though
eye.
this is good. Get it. Don't listen to them.